we're getting some good questions here. In fact, somebody just asked if I could make them the presenter. I don't know if that's a good idea, so we probably won't be doing that. But we're going to talk about the Indoor Tri. Once again, thanks everybody for coming on board. And we're getting some messages here. We're actually at capacity, which is pretty amazing. Again, if you will, make sure your phone's on mute. If you are a guest speaker and you're speaking, make sure your phone's on mute until you have that speaking role. That way we won't have any background noise. All right, well, let's get started. Once again, thank you for joining the call. We're talking about the Indoor Tri coming up here shortly. Let me make sure I have, one second here. All right, bear with me if we have some technical difficulties. I'm going to put everybody on mute. Bear with me here for a minute. Bear with me here for 1 minute while we get our technical difficulties taken care of, and then we'll be right up to speed.
Let me know if you need help with anything.
All right, I think we're going to be back online here. If, again, you guys can keep your phones on mute, that would be great. All right, here we go. Put everybody on mute here once more. Okay, once again, thank you for joining us for the 2019 Indoor Tri webinar. We're going to talk about all things Indoor Tri, and let's get started. We've had enough of a delay. So, first of all, I want to talk about our team here at Lifetime. We're really proud to be here for you, getting ready for the Indoor Tri. So this is our corporate team, and just wanted to say hello. That's Tiffany Berenberg in the upper left corner. She's our National Program Manager for Outdoor Cycle. And in fact, if you have questions, you'll probably be talking to Tiffany via online. That's Rebecca Mayer. She's our National Program Manager for Lifetime Run. And then if you look all the way over to there to the upper right, that's Art Johnson. He is the manager for our in-club events at Lifetime. In the lower left corner, that big picture of my face, that's me, Troy Jacobson. I'm the National Director for Endurance Sports at Lifetime. And right next to me there, that's Scott Hootie Hootmacher, who is our Lifetime Tri brand manager. So we're all very happy to be here with you, and it's a pleasure, and we look forward to you having a fantastic Indoor Tri experience. Today's agenda, we're going to have a word from our partner, UCAN, which we're really looking forward to. Peter Kaufman's going to be talking a little bit about our sponsor product in the nutrition space. Then we're going to be hearing from Hootie, Scott Hootmacher, the Lifetime Tri brand manager. Then we're going to talk about some of the logistics around the Indoor Tri, race day logistics, and training plan ideas, finally followed by race day strategies. So a lot going on in today's call, and we hope you bear with us. If you have questions, feel free to type them into the chat box there, and one of our representatives will be answering your questions during the call. So first of all, let's get a word from our sponsor. Peter Kaufman, are you on the call? Peter, can you take yourself off mute?
Troy, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. I can't see the slides, so just move with me, all right? Hi, everybody. This is Peter Kaufman. I'm one of the founders of the UCAN company. I've got just 2 minutes I'm going to give you a bunch of information in 2 minutes, and then I'm going to give you a special offer that we're going to send you as a follow-up to this call so you can take advantage of it. UCAN is the official nutrition sponsor of Lifetime Run, Lifetime Cycle, and Lifetime Team Tri-Team. We've been at Lifetime for 6 years. We have a very unique nutrition. For those of you that do not know what it is, I'm going to take the next minute and a half to tell you what it is. You can check with your Tri coaches. You can check with any of the trainers at Lifetime. You can check on our website. You can learn a lot more about UCAN. We have a new carbohydrate that you're going to be very interested in trying. It's completely new in the world. It's a new source of steady energy. Its uniqueness comes from the fact that it only exists to help children with an extremely rare form of life-threatening hypoglycemia stay alive. Only reason our company exists, only reason our carbohydrate named Superstarch exists. You see some graphs here. I know they're a little tough to see, but what they show you is that our carbohydrate Superstarch has a couple of unique qualities. The primary one is that it keeps anyone's blood sugar completely stable for hours. You get none of the highs and lows you get from other simple carbohydrates. That means that as you exercise, get further into your exercise, you will not feel as fatigued as you normally would because your blood sugar never drops. The other thing that makes the carbohydrate, the Superstarch, so unique is that the insulin response to our Superstarch, a carbohydrate, is lower than the insulin response to protein. There's nothing like this in the world today. Therefore, your body will use significantly more of your own fat as its fuel source when you exercise because there's no insulin telling your body to store fat. In fact, you'll use generally 50% more fat of your own as your fuel source while exercising. Your body becomes far more metabolically efficient. Go to the third slide, please, Troy. So what you're dealing with here is a carbohydrate that has an extremely low insulin response, keeps your blood sugar completely steady for hours. You will not be starving at the end of your workouts because your blood sugar does not drop, and it is completely natural. All it is a specific type of non-GMO corn treated only with a patented cooking process that involves water and heat. That's it. Created for kids and babies with a disease. It had to be completely natural. But we've got 40 professional NFL, NHL, and NBA teams using this product right now. It is the best kept secret in sports. And the person that originally suggested we go into athletics and fitness was, in fact, the dietitian for the U.S. triathlon team in Beijing in 2008, Bob Siebelhar. If you go to the last slide, Troy. We want you all to have a very easy way to try the product. We're offering you these two special offers. You can take advantage of UCAN in a powder form, and you can get along with that our special product, which you'll find very interesting. It's a product that matches exactly the electrolyte mix in sweat and has no calories because you're getting your calories from either our UCAN powders or our UCAN bars. You can see the offer on here. It's twice as good as our cyber special was. We usually don't offer deals like this.
Okay, we have to put everyone on mute. Sorry about that, everybody. We have some difficulties with everyone hearing. Peter, I'm sorry I had to put you on mute, but I'm going to finish off and tell everyone a little bit more about the UCAN product because it is unbelievable. It is a very unique product in the world of sports nutrition and one that everybody should take advantage of, the special offer. We're going to be posting that special offer so that you can see it and get more information about it. In fact, Tiffany, if you're on the call, if you could post that in the chat box there for everybody, that would be great. Peter, you feel free to do that as well. Once again, we apologize for some of the technical difficulties we're having today. If everybody could, please keep your phones on mute. That way we won't have that background noise. That's much appreciated. And if you are a guest speaker, just punch in the pin, and that way you'll be able to speak without all the background noise. All right, so UCAN, great sports product, one very connected to the Indoor Tri and the Lifetime Tri Series. And there's a question here, will this be available at individual purchase at the gym? They are available at Lifetime. It is available in the cafe. And Clark, if you'd like, please reach out to Tiffany or in the chat box there. We can give you some more information about that. So thank you, Peter, for that. Apologize for any problems with our technical. And we have a lot of people still trying to sign on. All right, now we're going to move on to a little bit of discussion around the Lifetime Tri-Series. And there's Tiffany's email. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out to her directly. She just punched it into the chat box there. So thanks for that, Tiffany. The South Beach Tri just won in the Lifetime Tri-Series. And I know Hootie's on the phone. Hootie, can you take yourself off mute? All right. So once again, I don't know. There he is. Hey, Hootie.
Here he is.
There you are.
Good evening, everybody. Hi, Troy.
Hey there. You're on.
All right. Should we talk triathlon?
Let's do it. Let's do it. We have the South Beach slide up right now. Why don't you talk about the Lifetime Tri-Series? Talk about South Beach.
Okay.
That's coming up fairly soon.
Sure, guys. So, quick thing. We at Lifetime, we like to think we are all things triathlon. We may have 100 indoor triathlons happening, but at the same time, we have 7 outdoor races that reside across the country. And we typically live in top-tier destination cities. The first of our series starts in South Beach, Miami Beach, in mid-April, April 14th, our first race. And we go through into Austin, Texas. We go into Minneapolis, New York City, Chicago, Tempe, Arizona, and then we wrap up back in Miami with the Escape to Miami Triathlon. So all in, we want you guys to know you're in good hands being in the triathlon universe. We collectively touch more than 35,000 triathletes every year between the indoor, between the outdoor, and between all of Troy's coaching programs. So we know that the majority of you on this call are first-time triathletes, and you couldn't be in better hands at this point. So we look forward to a great year with you guys.
Awesome, Hootie. Thank you very much. And next up, we have some maps we want to look at. We have some effects here, too. This one map we're looking at right now are all the Lifetime Tri-Series events throughout the country. Do you want to talk about some of these different events that you have?
Sure. We don't need to spend too much time on them, but if you want to scroll to the next map, the all-inclusive Troy, it just kind of shows you the presence that we have across the country with all Lifetime Tri. So again, we touched 108 total events. We're going to have more than 35,000 triathletes. And wherever you are, with the exception of that little bit of hole in the Northwest, we have triathlon covered. And we're pretty much in every drive market imaginable throughout the rest of the country. So come and join us.
Perfect. And Matt asked if a link to this webinar will be sent out. And yes, sir, Matt, it will be. Thank you very much for asking that. Hootie, thanks very much. Appreciate that. And, the Indoor Tri is the first step in the journey to some of the other tries in the Lifetime series, including events like the iconic Chicago Triathlon. So all kinds of different events to jump into. All right, next slide. Let's keep moving on. And we're going to talk now about what the Indoor Tri is all about. Race dates. First of all, there are 2 different dates depending on the club in which you'll be competing. The 20th or the 27th of January. So you can kick off the new year with your Indoor Tri. Registration, as you know, $30 now through the 15th, and then there is a little price bump as of December 16th. So if you haven't signed up already, make sure you do that so you get that lower price point. And then relays. This is our first year for the relay option. It's pretty exciting. If you're not a triathlete and you want to do just one sport at a time, well, get some team members. Get a swimmer, get a cyclist, get a runner, $60 per team. And members and non-members are welcome. So if you're not a member of Lifetime, then make sure that you come in and attend. There we go. Tiffany just answered another question there in the chat box. She's really fast on that. So what do you get for your race entry? You get your race bib, your swim cap, your tumbler, which is pretty cool, post-race snacks, and then the shirt is available as an option for only $10. And there's your login page. If you go to lifetimetri.com, you'll see it there in the upper right corner. So all good questions coming through. So the what? Let me move some of these different screens out of the way here. See all this stuff coming in? There we go. All right. Let's talk about the what. What is the Indoor Tri? Well, first of all, the Indoor Tri has been going on for several years now. It starts with a 10-minute swim. You see how far you can swim in 10 minutes. Guess what? The cool thing about the Indoor Tri, it's designed to be a really, not only an entry-level race. Of course, you can race this hard if you're an experienced athlete, But if you're new to triathlon, it's a great event. If you need to, you can walk the swim. You can doggy paddle the swim. You can breaststroke. Whatever you want to do is fine, as long as you cover those 10 minutes. The next thing, transition number 1. You have a 10-minute transition. You take your time through the locker room, and you move towards the bike. And then the bike is a 30-minute bike. You go the furthest distance you can. You ride as hard as you can in that 30-minute time period, and you figure out how far you can ride in that time period. Next transition number 2, is only 5 minutes, where you move over to the treadmills. And then finally, you finish up with a 20-minute run. And again, you run as fast as you can to cover as much distance as you can to see how far you can go and how you stack up against the other athletes in your event. The how. This race is a little bit different in that it's time-based. So the volunteers will keep track of participant total distance covered in the event, and it differs from a traditional triathlon where participants are required to cover a set distance. Again, we go by time in the indoor tri, and it keeps things really nice and efficient. And let me tell you, you'll get an awesome workout in that 1 hour time period. And with the indoor tri, the time is set, and the race is divided into waves of 10 participants. Wave 1, swim start, must start on time, and you can see these different waves. This is pretty much how you'll experience it at your race, with some variation depending on the club you'll use. But most likely, this is how you'll see it. So you can see the wave starts up here, and then your swim start, swim finish, bike start, bike finish, run start, and run finish. These aren't just approximate times. These are exact times. The indoor tri is very precise, so it's important that you're aware of that. You can see this picture here on the right where the lane marshals are watching the swimmers and counting the laps before they head off and start the race. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you type into the chat box there, and Tiffany will respond. Wave times. All participants will receive an email with their wave time from their race director with race rules and race information about a week before the event. So you're going to get some additional information in your email box, in your inbox before the event. And if you have any questions about it, there's your link right there, lifetimetri.com/events/indoor tri. And again, Tiffany will type that into the chat box if you have any questions. But just rest assured, you'll have plenty of access to information as we continue to build towards the indoor tri. The check-in process. So you want to make sure you check in at least 30 to 40 minutes prior to your start time. So, arrive early. Most people will arrive at least an hour before their start time. And you check in at the Lifetime main desk. If you're not a Lifetime member, ask about how to use the lockers. That can be a little bit tricky. And then let the front desk know you're there for the indoor tri. Step number 2, check in at the indoor tri table. There'll be a registration table there for you, and you'll be checking in to make sure you get all your swag and other amenities there, like your race bibs, your pins, and so forth. And then the staff will write your wave number and bib number on you. And then step number 3 there, feel free to ask questions you may have. And if you're unsure where the locker room is, make sure that staff points you in the right direction. And then step number 4, head to the locker room and keep everything in your locker, but take your goggles and swim cap and get ready to head to the pool. Now, as you can see, if you're looking at my screen right now, I've got the wheel of death, and I'm not sure why. Can you guys see that? So I'm not sure what's happening here to my presentation. It might be a lot of bandwidth going on with over 100 people signed up, but please bear with me as we might have some additional technical difficulties here as here we go. Whoops. So as you can see, the PowerPoint just finished. So bear with me. I'm going to get this fired back up. Bear with me here for a second. My PowerPoint just logged out on me. Give me 1 second here. I know no one here has ever had this happen before. All right, we're back up. Hold on here. Give me 2 seconds. I appreciate everybody's patience as we go through these technical difficulties. And we're going to be up here in 2 seconds. Hold on. And 1, 2, 3. All right, can you guys see my screen again? Type in the chat box, let me know. All right, thank you. You guys all have a great sense of humor. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Joe. Thanks, Andrea. Okay, let's keep walking through this deck. This is fun times, fun times. All right, let's talk about the swim. And there's another error less. There we go. All right. Okay, so be on the pool deck 10 minutes prior to your start time. Step number 2, when they call your wave, get into the pool. Listen to the volunteers as they assign you a lane. You may have to share a lane, which isn't a big deal. That's okay. And if you do have to share a lane, you will take a side of the lane. You won't circle swim. Then step number 3, you will have a couple of minutes to warm up before they start your wave, and pay attention to the countdown so you start when the gun's ready to go off. And step number 4 here, that was step number 3. Step number 4, once they tell you to go, you have 10 minutes to swim as many lengths as you can. Any stroke goes. Again, you can do the breaststroke, backstroke, you can even walk the length of the pool. It's okay to take a break if you want to, and no flotation devices are allowed. Volunteers will be counting your laps. They will blow the whistle, so you need to quickly exit the pool when you're done. And if you ended up more than halfway in the length, they will round up to the next length. Okay? So again, all good information about the swim. Let's keep moving on. So you'll go into transition number 1. Transition number 1 is actually 10 minutes long. You'll head into the locker rooms. And the note here is time will go quickly. So yes, that's so true. Those 10 minutes will go really fast. Change into whatever you'll wear for the bike and the run. Most people will wear their tri-kit. So wear those comfortable tri-shorts that you can bike and run in, and maybe a race singlet. But you can wear whatever you want, as long as you're comfortable. That's the main idea. And don't forget your water bottle, cycling shoes, and running shoes, and headphone if you want to use them as well. And don't be late to the bike, because remember, this is a timed event. It doesn't stop without you showing up. So make sure you're on to each leg on time. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed my PowerPoint doesn't close on me again. Okay. Next up, for the bike, listen to the volunteers. Grab a bike. If you have running shoes, there'll be cages on the pedals. If you are going to clip in, they'll have both the SPD type pedals as well as the look style pedals. And then you can place your running items next to your bike. Feel free to adjust your bike. You want to make sure your bikes fit properly. So raise that saddle, raise those handlebars, be really comfortable on that bike, but don't touch that console next until the next step. Step number 2, listen closely to the volunteers. When they say start, hit the console middle button until you see it say stage on top of the screen. Don't touch anything else, okay? Because now you're on the clock. You're riding, and you're riding hard. The bottom number of the console is your distance. Keep a mental note of your distance covered just in case there's a technical difficulty. And you will ride for 30 minutes. How many miles can you go in that 30-minute time period? The more power you put out, the further you'll go. You know, if you're a lifetime member, make sure you're jumping into our power classes to prepare you for the indoor tri. Step number 3, the volunteers will tell you when to stop. And when they say stop, you have to stop pedaling. You can't go further. That's just cheating. Do not touch anything. The volunteers will come by and write down your distance. And it's time at that point to start heading to the treadmill. Why? Because you only have 5 minutes to transition to the treadmill. Transition number 2, 5 minutes, see? So you have to move the treadmill area quickly. You'll know where that is because the volunteers will point you in the right direction, and look for those volunteers to assist you in finding the treadmill. What are your steps for the treadmill? Number 1, they'll guide you to your treadmill. Do not touch the screen to start the treadmill, because if you do that, you'll start early, and you don't want to do that. That's cheating. They'll tell you when to hit that quick start button, and once they say start, you can pick your race speed. So most people ramp up gradually, sort of get their race legs under them, and then they start into their stride. Inclines are allowed, but not a negative incline. So if you want to put your treadmill on an incline, you can do that. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, So you can do that. And you can adjust the pace at any time. So if you're running too slow and you say, hey, I want to pick it up, you can do that. Or if you're running too fast, you can slow it down as well. Keep watching your distance. Volunteers will give you a countdown, and when they say stop, hit that stop button and don't touch anything else. The volunteers will come by and write down your miles. And guess what? At that point, you have finished the indoor try. You have your cumulative time, and now it's time to celebrate. So first of all, take a look at your wave sheet and verify your results are entered incorrectly. Enjoy the post-race snack they offer. Watch your email for indoor try results and review the results. If you have any questions, reach out. And there's the link there if you do, in fact, have any questions, and also where all indoor try results will be posted. So lots of information here, I know. But again, we'll be following up with some additional information via your email box. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. I see great questions coming through the chat box. Please continue to do so. Tiffany will be answering your questions. So really appreciate your engagement here. Okay, we're going to shift gears a little bit. Hopefully you guys are hanging in there with me. How many people do we have here? Hold on one second. Let me see. I'm afraid to click any buttons on my screen because I think my computer might just crash on me. But we have 101 people on the call, which is really exciting. So thanks everybody for being on the call. Let's look at this slide here, training tips. We want to talk a little bit about training. First of all, are you aware that there is a free training plan you can download at lifetimetry.com under the indoor try link? So if you scroll all the way down that page, you'll find that link. This training plan has been used effectively by lots, I'm talking probably thousands of athletes now over the past several years. So feel free to download that free training plan. It's a PDF, print it out and use that. It's only 8 weeks long, but it'll give you great guidance with your training plan, and it's very simple to follow. Next tip, focus on your technique and form. In other words, develop good habits. If you're new to the sport of triathlon, I can tell you as a triathlon coach now for, I'm going to say, well, almost 30 years, developing skill and technique first is a really important element to becoming a better triathlete in the future. So if you can slow it down, focus on developing your skill and technique now, it's going to serve you very well as you continue in the sport of triathlon and you go down your triathlon journey. So develop those good habits, in particular with the swim. So I say work with a certified coach, and you can see one of our coaches there working with an athlete. The swim is probably the most technical sport in the sport of triathlon. So if you can develop your skill and technique in the swim and move your body efficiently through the water, you're going to go very far without using a lot of energy. And that's really important. You want to conserve energy for the bike and the run. So the more efficient you become in the swim, the better overall triathlete you'll be. So if you're new to swimming, take your time, learn technique. If you're not new to swimming, if you're an experienced triathlete, still make technique development an important part of each workout. The same goes with the bike, the same goes with the run. Learn proper skill, proper movement patterns, be biomechanically efficient, and you will go far in the sport. Work with the certified coach, as I mentioned. A coach will help guide you, give you the advice and training plan prescription you need to optimize your potential. Next tip, do your brick workouts. Ever heard of a brick workout? A brick workout is when you do one workout followed by the next. The most popular brick workout, of course, is the bike to run. You know, that transition from cycling to running is really challenging. It takes a lot of practice to get used to it. But another transition that's really challenging is that transition from the swim to the bike. It's a little bit less demanding in the indoor try because you have 10 minutes to transition between the two. But when you do your lifetime try, you're going to find that transition from the swim to the bike is challenging because you're going from that horizontal position, boom, to running. And that's really difficult. So make sure you practice that and do your brick workouts. Next tip, practice with what you'll use on race day. So what I mean by that is if there's a garment, tri kit, whatever you're going to wear, make sure you practice with that so you don't get any unintended chafing or anything like that on race day. Really important. Make sure you wear your running shoes, your race shoes in training. Obviously, when it comes to your outdoor triathlon, you want to make sure your bike is totally dialed in and you're really used to that position on your tri bike. But practice, and even as it goes to nutrition, if you're going to use UCAN, for example, make sure you practice with UCAN before actually using it there on race day. So practice with what you're going to use out there on race day. Next tip, train with a group. It's a lot more fun when you're suffering with other people. So make sure you train with a group if you can. At Lifetime, we have our Tri-Team program where we have groups of athletes training together 2 and 3 days a week. And it really brings camaraderie to your training and can help elevate your game. It makes it fun. So if you have a tri club in your area or you want to be part of Lifetime, please make sure you reach out and we'll help you find a club in your area. Next tip, don't rush it. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes months, weeks, months, and years to become a better triathlete. In fact, when I coach a triathlete, I actually have them look at a 3 to 5 year picture. I say, where do you want to be 3 years from now or 5 years from now in the sport? And we develop their plan around that long-term objective. So we don't rush it. And their fitness is gained at the right pace. Their fitness is gained slowly but solidly. They have a foundational fitness, and we work on their technique, and they become better athletes long-term without injury because of it. So, we're only, 2 months away, not even that. Don't rush your fitness. Just, if anything, if you're just getting into training for the indoor tri, use the indoor tri as a test run. Just go through it. Continue to train, but just don't rush your fitness. I just can't stress that enough. And then put another race on your calendar for the future. Next tip, consistency matters. Getting your workouts done is really important for any athlete. It's what you do day after day after day. It's the habits you develop for yourself that ultimately dictate what kind of athlete you'll be. So if you're consistent with your training and you're doing your workouts for each sport, discipline, 2 and 3 and 4 days a week, you're going to be a much better athlete over the long term. So be consistent. Next tip, quality over quantity. Those quality workouts, making sure that you're hitting your target heart rate zones or your target power zones are really important. The body adapts to that kind of training stress. Just doing workouts that are filler workouts, for example, or quote unquote junk miles, not a good idea. That's where you get injured. Okay, so quality over quantity. Next tip, measure and monitor your results. Make sure you're measuring your performance because we have a saying at Lifetime, that which gets measured matters. In other words, we pay attention to it. So we want to make sure we measure our results, measure like maintaining a logbook. If you're using an online training log tool, make sure you're entering your training data in there on a regular basis and monitor your results as you go forward. Next tip is make it a journey. As I mentioned before, we normally look at a 3-year progression. So make indoor tri part of your triathlon journey. So whether you're an experienced triathlete or a beginner, it's the kickoff to your 2019 season. It sets the tone to where you're going to be in the summer months when you're doing other events. And say you're doing the Chicago Tri in August. This indoor tri that you'll do in January can really set the tone because it gives you a benchmark. It lets you know where you are, and it keeps you focused and motivated on your triathlon journey. And finally, make sure you're having fun. That's what this is all about, fun and fitness. So make sure your training is fun. Make sure you're doing it in a way that's safe and healthy, and you really enjoy your entire experience. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, next up, I want to introduce one of our Lifetime Tri coaches, Stacy Rhea. And Stacy's been in the sport for over 4 years. Wow, what was that? Can you guys still hear me? Hopefully you can. All right. So Stacy has been in the sport. Yep. All right, great. I'm getting some there. Thanks for Lorinda, John, everybody. Thanks so much for typing in the chat box there. All right, Stacy, if you could take yourself off mute, you can see her bio here. Very impressive. Really appreciate Stacy being on the call. Stacy, can you hear me?
Hi, I'm here. I can. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Hello? Okay, great.
Okay, I'm going to your next slide.
Okay. Yeah, so we have race day preparation. For those of you that are new, this is so important, but it really, preparing for the race really begins the night before. So we put together this the slide to show you. You want to break that down. So you're going to want to look at the swim. Basically what you're doing is you're putting a list together. Once you have that list together, and I kind of look at it this way, I go from literally from the top of my head to my toes, and I just break it down into sections, kind of like it is on this slide. That way I have everything and anything I need for each of my legs, anything that might be in through transition. So, and what's nice about an indoor try is not only are you getting your feet wet, giving this type of a race a try for the first time, but you have less gear to put together, which is nice that morning of. Don't know if, Trey, if you wanted to add anything to that.
So I'm looking at your list here.
Yeah.
And I think I need background on your computer. So if you could put me on mute really quick. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So we see the swim. Obviously, you have your swimsuit, your cap, and that's a packet pickup. All right. Great. Swim goggles. Yeah, make sure you wear your swim goggles in training and practice before you use them on race day. I think that's a really important point. Some people will use an anti-fog on them, and then nose and ear plugs if you want to use those as well. So awesome for the swim. Then we go onto the bike and your bike shoes or your running shoes. If you don't have bike shoes, no worries. Bring your running shoes because you have the cages on the bikes. Your socks, because again, you'll be going right from the bike to the run. So you might as well put your socks on. You know, some people in the outdoor triathlons don't wear socks because they want to buzz through the transition super fast. But the truth is, in the indoor try, you have 10 minutes in the first transition, 5 minutes in the second transition. So take your time and put on the comfortable gear and apparel. Next up, you have your hydration bottle, okay? And then headphones if you wish. Yep, you can wear your headphones in the indoor try. So have your tunes and jam on as much as you want there. And then for the run, your running shoes, again, you'll probably run in whatever you rode the bike in terms of apparel. So yeah, running shoes. Some people will throw in a visor or a hat. And then for your nutrition, if you're going to be using UCAN, then have that with you as well. So yeah, that's a great list, Stacy. Appreciate that. I'm going to go to your next slide now. And why don't you take yourself off mute and speak to your next one.
Okay, so the race day strategy or your race day plan, I try to simplify it. We're going to plan, we're going to visualize, and we're going to execute. And that visualization is such an important part for any race. I don't know, in my opinion, no matter how long you've been racing, that visual component is so important. But I like to outline my race day a couple weeks prior to, especially for the longer ones, and I go over it in my mind and I commit it to memory so that as I'm going through each step and I'm visualizing it, the race itself, I'm carrying myself from start to finish. Seems to go a lot smoother when we kind of pre-plan that. But you're going to start your day out just like you would any of your training days. You want to eat 2 to 3 hours prior to the event and make sure you're hydrating. You don't want to try anything different on race day because you never know how your stomach's going to react to that. I would say for an indoor try, the least amount of time you would want to arrive would be 30 minutes prior to, but give yourself a little bit more time because after you check in and get your numbers done, we talked a little bit earlier about, the locker room and the transitions and getting on the deck. You want to make sure you know exactly where you're going so that as you're getting out of the pool or making another transition, you're not trying to find someone to tell you where to go, or because sometimes those 5 or 10 minutes go by really fast. I'm trying to go through my list here. I'll look at this. If you want to head up to the bikes, one of the suggestions I made to a couple of the athletes at our place is if you do have pedals or different needs for the bike, if you can do that even prior to the race, just so you know that you have everything, ready to go. As Troy mentioned, just wearing, running shoes is a good thing to do as well. And then, switching your stuff out in the lockers. And when it's I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. So as you're going through that transition in each one, you're just make sure you have everything you need in your locker kind of outlined and ready to go. being on deck 10 minutes prior to, in case there's a race briefing or something like that. You want to know everything that's going on, you know, exactly which lane you're going to be in, who you're swimming with, what side of the lane you're on. Just those are all little things. And the race directors and volunteers will be really great about going over all of that with you. Again, just visualize every step of the way that you're going through this. Pace yourself. I think one of the biggest things I've seen is, you know, sometimes we go out too fast. We're very excited and we want to do our best, but we tucker ourselves out. So really pace yourself through your race. And when you're done and you cross that finish line, it is definitely time to celebrate.
Awesome.
Yeah. Don't know if you need to add anything to that, Troy. I'm going to go ahead and mute so that you don't get any of that funny feedback again.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much, Stacy. That was great. That's a great list there. Really appreciate all of that. I love the visualize. I mean, that's so important to visualize yourself in each leg, and that really lowers your anxiety level. And then pacing yourself. I mean, even though this is considered quote unquote a sprint triathlon, you still need to pace yourself. Let's face it, if you go out too hard in any of these different legs, you're going to burn yourself out. We call it burning your matches, and you're going to burn your match book too soon. So you want to make sure you pace yourself properly. You go out at a pace that's sustainable for the distance that you wish to cover, or the duration of time you wish to cover, and you just dial it in. Using a heart rate monitor is a great way to pace yourself and keep yourself in check. If you know your power on the bike, your functional threshold power, that's even something else you can go to. You know, you can say to yourself, all right, I'm going to ride at roughly my FTP, and that'll put you right where you need to be. So if you do the power workouts at our clubs, make sure you really have a great understanding of your FTP. But all great points, Stacy. Thank you so much for that. Okay. And we're moving towards the end of our call here. It's been quite the call with some technical difficulties, but really appreciate you guys going through it with us. So first of all, I just want to thank everybody for attending the call. This call has been recorded, hopefully, and will be posted if you'd like to refer to it again. And by the way, you can get a free 20-minute coaching consultation to talk about your personal situation with your training. If you're interested in that, please make sure you email me at tjacobson@lt.life, and we will set that up for you. John asked, is there a code for the UCAN deal? Tiffany, if you could type in that information for John really quick into the chat box. John will be sure to get that to you as well. We want to make sure everybody can take advantage of that. And then Ann asked that same question there. So we'll get that information to you. In fact, I believe we have everybody's email who logged on to this call. And if not, make sure you check back to the, there we go, out to people registered. So we're going to send that out to you guys. Yes, that 20-minute call is specific to Tri. So we will definitely, if you email me at tjacobson@lt.life, I'll assign you to one of our awesome coaches, and they'll be able to help you. They'll talk to you about your training needs and give you some advice. So make sure you reach out. Crystal, thanks. I'll look for your email. Follow up, if you will. If for some reason I don't get back to you within the next, probably by early tomorrow morning, follow up with me, and I'll get back to you. Any other questions coming over the chat box? Feel free. We have a couple more minutes. Yep, sure thing. Sure thing, Crystal. Relay price increase on the 16th. Yep. Thank you, guys. All right. We have lots of people signing off now. So we are going to get ready to sign off as well. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Otherwise, thank you all so much for logging on, and have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you soon.